Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the 2019 Mazda CX-9. You're going to notice that the styling on this CX-9 is very similar to the styling on the new CX-5. You can see one right there. I just kind of left it here just so you can kind of compare the size comparison to them and all of that. As always, big shout out and thank you to Southtown Mazda over here for providing us with the vehicle to review today. They have a ton of inventory to choose from, and then as always, if you are stopping in for the first time, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. So under the hood here, we have a 2.5 liter turbocharged motor that is through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is going to be 20 around town, 26 on the highway, and 23 combined. Power outputs with this particular motor is going to be 310 pound-feet of torque and 250 horsepower. It's the same engine that is in the new top-of-the-line trim for the CX-5, and they've used it in the CX-9 here for a couple years now. Finishing things up front, you can see Mazda's LED lights that they have here. It is adaptive lighting, so it does have that kind of like follow function where it'll move with the terrain and road and all that, so it's really neat, and they look really good when they're on as well. You can see those nice LED lights. And then at the center here, you can see the Mazda logo, which that's actually also the system for the adaptive cruise control right there. And so it's cool that they integrate that into the logo. And then the overall grille design, it's very signature with what Mazda has been doing for the last few years. And I definitely love little design details. So like right here at the bottom, it's kind of like a faux looking front splitter thing. I just love how that looks overall. If we come around to the side here, we can see these nice 20-inch alloy wheels that are in the front and over here in the back as well. And then this car is finished in what's called machine gray with Mazda. It's same as the CX-5 that I did yesterday, and so I just love this color overall and how it looks. And then I can give you guys a side profile. You can see it's just a little bit bigger than the CX-5, but overall proportions on it make it kind of similar, but just like in a bigger setup. We can come to the back here to give you kind of like a rear quarter angle as well. Now that we're out back, here is the key fob for the CX-9. It's gonna be the same key fob that you have with all the other Mazdas when you get the upgraded key fob function, but we can hold this down for the power lift tailgate, and that will raise the rear tailgate. Now that we're in the back right here, we can see they have everything wrapped up as with plastic since this is brand new, but you get the floor mats back here. And then since this is the CX-9, it is going to have third row seating, and you can see there's actually a decent amount of legroom in this third row. It's not going to be good as the second row, but you still do get a good amount. And if you are wondering with the seats, so you do that and then throw it forward to put this third row down. And then up top here, this is the button to lower down the power tailgate. So you have a button on the key fob, and then you get a button on the tailgate as well. Finishing things out back, we can see stylistically here, they have these nice LED lights in the back. I just love how they look overall. And then you do get the dual exhaust in the back, and you can see some parking sensors are integrated into that rear bumper as well. We are going to be popping into the back here. I will show you the panel for the rear. Everything is lined with leather. It's all soft touch. It's really nice to touch. There's some nice contrast stitching as well. And then you have your window controls down below, and then you can see that this particular one is equipped with the Bose sound system. It's a premium sound system. You get a subwoofer with it as well. The audio quality on it's really good overall. This is really the first time you're going to be able to see the leather seats that come with this particular one. I love the color on them. It's kind of like a reddish brown. It's more on the brown side, but I just love the look of it overall. But you can see you get your rear climate controls back here. You have your heated seats, and then this is where you're going to control the rear climate. You do get vents as well. You will get these little cup holders here. It's kind of like a center console. This picks up, and you get USB charging down there, and then it's just nicely padded with leather, so if you do want to rest your arm there. Something that's really neat is these seats do slide backwards and forwards, so it makes it easier to get into the third row. But then the other nice thing about that is that if you want to give the third row a little bit more room, vice versa, all that kind of stuff, you can do that by sliding the seat forward and backward. Coming up to the front, you do get keyless entry, so one touch to lock it. The mirrors will power fold in, and then if you press it again, it'll unlock and the mirrors will power fold right back out. Now we can see the front is finished with that nice paneling again, so you get the nice leather with the bolsters right here, and then the contrasted stitching. All of your controls for the window controls are going to be here, your door lock, and then your controls to adjust the mirrors as well. We look on the side of the seats right here, we can see all of our controls to adjust the seats, and then you do get memory seat function with this as well. You're going to get your gas release and then your hood release there. Coming over here, this is your button to do the tailgate. And then you do get a camera view option, which is really neat. That is to turn off your lane departure assistance, traction control, and then to turn off the parking sensors as well. Stepping into the CX-9, step and height's really good since this is an SUV. Start up the CX-9, all you have to do is put your foot on the brake and push the push start. The car will start right up. The gauges will do a little bit of a sweep. In the center here, we can see the gauges. This will look very similar to that CX-5 that I did. This is the big brother to the CX-5, hence why they call it the CX-9. But you still get that configurable menu that you can control through, go through the safety equipment, mileage, all that kind of stuff. You can make this center stack be whatever you want, or you can turn it off altogether. And then you're gonna get your revs over here. You will get your speed in the center, and then you get a temperature gauge, and then you get a range gauge as well with the traditional fuel gauge just down below. Looking at the steering wheel, we can see we have the controls for the adaptive cruise control right here where you can set all of that. And then on the other side of the steering wheel, we have all the voice commands here, and then that's that info center where you can scroll through the radio, and then also you can scroll through that little center stack back there, and then your phone controls. And overall, I really like the design of the steering wheel. It feels really nice, and it looks really nice as well. It has some nice contrasted stitching, and so it's a very nice steering wheel. Since we do have the car on now, we can press that camera button over there, and that gives you the bird's eye view. So you do get like a kind of like a 360 view of it, and so you can see that we have all those different panels. And actually, if I open up the door, it'll even show me opening up the door and how the camera angle changes with that. So it's super, super neat on that aspect. Pop it in reverse, we can see that a regular backup camera system will pop up, and you can actually switch between the two. So you can toggle between the regular backup camera and that backup camera. And you do get parking sensors, so that it makes parking this SUV a lot easier overall. This is the same touchscreen unit that I went over on the CX-5. So it's a little touchscreen up here on the top, but then you do get dials down below. So you can scroll through with this dial to go onto the touchscreen, or you can just use the touchscreen itself. They give you both functions, which is really nice, and I love it when they give you buttons and then they give you touchscreen as well, so whichever you prefer to use. Coming down below, here is your button for the heated steering wheel. You are going to get heated and ventilated seats up front, dual zone climate as well. These are all your analog climate controls down here, so you can control everything via these switches, and you can even sync them just like any other dual zone climate system. Here is your shifter for the 6-speed automatic transmission. You do have a manual shift mode if you want to shift the gears yourself, and then you do have a sport mode you can go into, and you turn that on, it'll pop up on the little center screen right there to turn on sport mode or just have it in the regular mode. You have your parking brake right here, and then these are all the buttons that are for the center screen that I just went over. So you have your back button, you have your music button, you have your home button, navigation, and then your favorite, and then the dial to shift between different screens, and then your volume control as well. For the side here, we have our cup holders right here, and then we have these nice armrests. It's with leather, more of that contrast stitching, and it actually opens up like this. You do get some extra charging stations in there, and it gives you a lot of extra storage space overall, but it's kind of cool that it opens up that way, so if you just want to have one side open or the other. Finishing things up on these seats, I really, really love how these seats look. The bolsters look incredible. The leather feels incredible. It is Napa leather when you go for the fully loaded CX-9, and so it definitely has a premium feel and look to it overall, and so if you are into interior materials, this is the one to go for. If you don't really care, you just kind of want leather and you want more of the loaded up features, then the Grand Touring is the trim package to go for. We can kind of finish up wrapping things up. So dash is all leather, soft touch. It looks really good. The color combination that they do creates a really nice contrast on the interior overall, and so they've done a very, very good job with that. Now that we've gone over all of the features, let's take the 2019 CX-9 out for a test drive just to see how it drives. We are starting off here in the 2019 Mazda CX-9, and first impressions, it actually drives really, really well, super smooth, kind of like I guessed. It is a little bit smoother than the CX-5, a little bit longer wheelbase, so I thought that just kind of like a longer vehicle overall was going to be a little bit more comfortable and smooth to drive overall. We're going to take the CX-9 on the highway to see how it drives ride quality wise there, and then see how it accelerates as well. And something to mention is the steering feel on this, just like the CX-5, is super precise. So if you're kind of looking for sportier steering, this is the route to go. We are getting an acceleration here with the CX-9. Yeah, and just like the CX-5, that turbocharged motor does really well. It doesn't feel boosty or anything like that, so the power band feels a lot more linear overall. And And just like the CX-5, it has a nice heads-up display on the front, so I can see my miles per hour. I can see if I'm getting a little bit too close to the person in front of me, if I'm staying in my lane as well. So it's nice that it shows all that information. So I really want to make sure this hits home. This SUV handles really well. And so if you want something that's a little bit more practical, like an SUV that you can go off-roading with, have the kids in the back because you have the third row, the CX-9 is definitely a good route to go because it has that fun, sporty driving feel, and so you're not missing out. Ride quality on the interstate and on the roads in general is really smooth. Kind of like I assumed, it was going to be a little bit smoother than the CX-5, and so I really like that. So if you want a little bit smoother ride quality, this is the one to go for. Overall impression wise, where this kind of stands, again, if you need the extra space that a third row provides, this is the route to go for if you want a little bit smoother ride. And if you're in the SUV market and you want something that handles a little bit better, you get a lot more steering feel, and the steering wheel is really nice to grab overall, then Mazda's the route to go. They are definitely enthusiast driven, and so they tune their vehicles to be enthusiast driven, and they make their vehicles with the assumption that, you know, people that love to drive cars are going to be driving them. And just because of that basis, this is the route to go if you're like an enthusiast overall. Like I said, to sum it up, wonderful car. If you are in the market for an SUV, and you know, like I always say, everyone's in the market for an SUV, especially these third row SUVs, you have to check out one of these new CX-9s. And there we have it, everyone, the 2019 Mazda CX-9. Again, big shout out and thank you to Southtown Mazda for providing us with the vehicle to review today. They have a ton of inventory to choose from, like I said earlier. So if you are in the market for a Mazda, definitely give them a check out. And then if you are stopping in for the first time, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe, comment down below what you thought, and then I will see all of you in that next video.